As I said, here rains have started. This,
So this entire monsoon, like from now onwards, till which month?
it goes on till continuously till August, September, and there is a small gap, and then again it starts. So 10 to 12 days gap is there in between, and then it starts back by end of September and continues till early December.
Oh, so it's like very long spell of monsoon.
Yes, yes.
While coming and returning both sides.
Yes.
Maximum of your students will join here in this section or in YouTube
No,
or
they will
Facebook?
they should join here. I think there will be some issues with regard to network. That is why. So
Okay.
as such, they should join here.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. I cannot see them. So hopefully they might be trying to join. So and it is still 5. There is 10 minutes. So hopefully they'll join soon. So shall we start?
Yeah, I am also waiting.
Because,
I think it's better to start.
yeah, we'll start because we'll go ahead as because people will keep joining. I think there is a network related issue because of heavy rains, no? So so let me just put this on. I'll just stop my sharing and I'll make you co-host so that you can.
Yes.
So before that, I'll ask Anu if you can start introducing. Right.
Okay, sir. Good evening to all. Welcome to Geography webinar series. This is the second webinar in the series as COVID-19 has completely curtailed the offline classes. This is an initiative of the Department of Geography at Government College Chittoor, Palakkad, Kerala to create the research awareness among the students through webinar series. One of the best way to expose them to interdisciplinary research and also to guide them for their higher studies and career opportunities. The webinar is organized on all Saturdays 5 to 6 p.m. with about 100 plus participants in both Zoom platform and Facebook. The participants include students of UG and the PG programs in Geography in Kerala, research scholars and the faculty Geography Department of Kerala. Sometimes we also have faculty, students, researchers and the professionals as the participants. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome the resource person for today's webinar, Dr. Sumit Dhukia, Assistant Professor, University School of Environment Management, Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University. I also take this opportunity to welcome all the faculty members and the students of the Department of Geography, Government College Chittoor. I also welcome faculty members, professionals, research scholars, students from various other colleges in Kerala. Let also welcome those who have joined from various parts of India. Welcome to one and all once again. Now, let me welcome my friend Ms. Anu Ramachandran to introduce today's resource person to you. Thank you.
Good evening to one and all. Today we have our resource person, Dr. Sumit Dhukia, Assistant Professor, School of Environment Management, Guru Gobind Singh, Indraprastha University. He has more than 20 years of experience in working on wildlife of India, did PhD on ecology of Chinkara in Western Rajasthan, instrumental in declaration of 2 conservation reserve in this landscape. The same were also his PhD field sites, have published 100 plus research articles, scientific papers, and reports. Completed 9 research projects supported by National DST, UGC, GGSIP University, International Raffords Foundation, Oriental and Birds Club. Both are from UK, worked in Zoological Survey of India, Desert Regional Center, Jodhpur, Wildlife Institute of India, Asia's premier institute on wildlife science at Dehradun, Bombay Natural History Society, Mumbai, State Government College, and since 2010 working as faculty at Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University, Government of Delhi, currently working on many aspects of biodiversity and restoration of natural resources in the Thar Desert with local communities through species conservation aspects with the local communities in Jaisalmer, Jodhpur, Barmer, and contributing his precious knowledge on wildlife in Western Rajasthan, member of IUCN, SSC, Antelope Specialist Group, CEM, CSE, WCBA. Dr. Sumit Dhukia has a lot of new ideologies to share with us. I hope it will be a great session. So let me call upon Dr. Sumit Dhukia to carry out this session.
Thanks, Dr. Govinda Kupti and all the students and faculty of geography, largely from Government College Chittoor as well as others. And I came to know that many of the participants are outside the Kerala also. So today, like as requested by Dr. Kuti, that I have to speak about desert ecology and a little bit of about geography. So I am a student of geology and working on animals. And since animals are part of a larger ecosystem, which comprises from largely from the ecology to the environment, then flora, then fauna. So it's like all the subjects are more or less interconnected, and that's why all the streams of environment, including geography, are nowadays going to be like taught in many departments, at least for at least in the up to the basic level in MSc environment. Also, we used to teach about the local geography. So
I have given you the host status, sir, so you can.
yeah, yes,
take
yes,
over.
okay, sir. So this is basically like I have compiled some information, and since I'm working from 1999 in Thar Desert of Rajasthan, as well as born and brought up and grown up in that area, and I will try to share my experiences along with my like study animals and the landscape. So desert ecology, and in India we are having largely two deserts. One is hot desert, another is cold desert. So I will talk about the hot desert, that is the Thar Desert. And since this is one of the smallest desert, at the same time one of the highly populated desert. So what does it mean, and how these things are very important when we are talking about the ecology of that landscape? So my topic is basically divided into 2-3 segments. One is like an insight into the native biodiversity, like what is the biodiversity. Since we are talking about desert, everybody must be having some idea in their mind that desert is like zero species or no man land where nobody can survive, and changes over the decades in Thar Desert of Rajasthan, and what type of ecological changes occurred in the Thar Desert of Rajasthan, and why these changes are there, and why we have to think about these changes. So I am faculty in Guru Gobind Singh Indraprastha University, New Delhi, and is it changing? Yes, slide is changing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please go
So yeah. So like I told you that Thar Desert is one of the smallest desert of the world, and this is just a photograph because since you all belong to geography department, so for you geography is not a big subject, but for me and to make a like the base of that talk, we are having Thar Desert close to the Tropic of Cancer or Cancer, and the Thar Desert is situated in the unique biogeographical location of the Indian subcontinent, and is largely in the India, and at least like 20 to 30% in Pakistan also, and in the northern side it is touching Haryana and Punjab, and in the southern side it is touching Great Run of Kutch, part of the Gujarat. So it extends up to the Sahara. Since this is not an isolated part, okay, so I will also discuss about endemicity, and since you largely you all belong to Kerala side, and you are having Western Ghat close to you, and Western Ghat is one of the highly endemic, like one of the area which is having highest endemicity in the country after Northeast India. So why these conglomeration of the different parts are important in the ecology is very important to understand. So this desert is largely connected with the Sahara through the different desert of the Turkestan, Arabian Desert, Sahara Desert, and Thar Desert. So all these 4 deserts are more or less connected. Now this is like Sahara Desert is the largest, and in ecology and in geography we are having many animals, plants. Those are having highly having a high affinity with the Sahara Desert. So the connectivity of the Sahara Desert to the Thar Desert used to be believed. Now this is the exact Thar Desert. You can see you can see that there is one line drawn on the map. So the larger part is Rajasthan, upper part is Punjab, and right side is Haryana, and in the south is the Gujarat. So half of the Gujarat and almost 60% of the Rajasthan is part of the Thar Desert, and half of the Haryana and like 20 to 30% of the Punjab. So this makes a part of the Thar Desert of India, and it extends up to the Pakistan also. So the Thar Desert, or also known as a Great Indian Desert, is the world's 17th largest desert in area and world 9th largest hot subtropical desert. These are just some figures to know about the status of Thar Desert in the world, and it is a large arid region. So basically, it is divided into two parts. One is arid and another is semi-arid. So the arid, having a large arid region, rainfall varies from less than 100 millimeter to 400 millimeter and more than 400 millimeter annually. So when you will go in the western side, close to the Jaisalmer and Badmer side, you will have a rainfall around 100 and 150 millimeter. But when you will go close to the southern and eastern side, northern eastern side, that is having a geographical boundary known as Aravalli Hill Range. So Aravalli Hill Range is stopping the movement of Thar Desert into the rest of the country, and up to the Aravalli Hills, you will have a rainfall close to the 400 millimeter annually. So this 100 mm to 400 mm rainfall is largely shaping the entire community of the desert, and westward to eastward side, and in the northwestern part of the Indian subcontinent, that covers roughly an area of 2 lakh square kilometers. So it's a huge area, and one of the largest desert in India, which is the only hot, and the cold is the Ladakh and Laul Spiti. So about 85% of the desert is located within the India, with the remaining 15% is in the Pakistan side. In India, it covers about 1,70,000 square kilometer, and the remaining 30,000 square kilometer of desert is within the Pakistan. And luckily, Pakistan is having an Indus River. So this Thar Desert is in between the Indus River of the Pakistan and Aravalli mountain range in the India. So it is in between these two, you can say, like natural boundaries. And beyond the Indus River in the west, they are having another desert and goes up to the Balochistan. So the Thar Desert forms approximately 5% of the total geographic area of the India, and more than 60% of the desert lies in the Indian state of Rajasthan, and it extends into the states of Gujarat, Punjab, and Haryana. And the Pakistan Sindh province, within Pakistan Punjab province, the Thar Desert continues and known as the Cholistan Desert. So Thar Desert, extended part of Thar Desert in the Pakistan's Punjab province, which is close to the Punjab of India, is known as the Cholistan Desert. It's a small part. So the desert comprises a very dry part known as a Marusthali or Marusthali, and that's why we are having this word Marusthal in Hindi for the desert. Marusthali region in the west and the semi-desert region in the east, with fewer sand dunes and slightly more precipitation. So the precipitation is the basic shaping component for the biodiversity in Thar Desert, because largely all animals depend upon the availability of the water. So the animal which is less or plant which is less dependent on the water will grow into the drier side, and the plant which is largely dependent on the water will grow into the 400 plus rainfall part. On the east, it is bounded by the oldest Arakan Aravalli mountain range, and the northeast merges with the geological recent Gangetic plains. As a consequence of its geomorphological configuration, the Thar Desert is a conglomeration of Sahara, Turanian, Oriental, and Peninsular biological taxa. So we have all 4 type of like plant and animal, the biodiversity, which is having affinity with all 4 type of you can say like geographical regions, largely Saharan, but we are also having peninsular biota in the Thar Desert, and largely the Oriental is also represented. This makes it as a highly diverse and populated with a number of species with low endemicity. The variations are very high, populations are more or less less. So why the variations are high? Because of the 4 different geographical regions are mixing in this place. And this makes it one of the highly populated desert. Okay, population, human population, as well as the livestock, these 2 are, you can say like anthropogenic factors, but above them is plants and animals. So it's a highly populated and having a high diversity. I will talk about diversity, animal and plant diversity in the next slides, but this is the real desert of India. And endemicity is very, very low. Why? Because it is not at all in isolation, and that's why all the animals are having some or less movement. Okay, and that's why it is not having endemicity. So these are the biogeographical classification, and in this biogeographical classification you can see that desert is mentioned as a biogeographical region 3, and some part of this is also in the Greater and Little Rann of Kutch. Then we are having semi-arid region. Semi-arid region is again classified in biogeographical region as a 4, and this 4 is again having 4A and 4B. So you can go and check in the this Pamar, Rogers Pamar and others Mathur book, and you can see that how these biogeographical regions are being classified. Then this is basically related about the rainfall zone, and you can see that this zone is classified as a tropical semi-arid region. So tropical region with a aridity and semi-arid region due to the rainfall. Now temperature varies. These are the basic features. Those are governing the you can say controlling the diversity. Varies from 0 degree to 50 degree at many locations, with high wind velocity, heat waves as well as cold waves too. These 3-4 important environmental variables are basically controlling all the survival of animals and plants. There are various places nowadays. You just check in the True Weather or whatever app you are using. You just mention some of the like the hottest place in the India, and you will come out that many of them are either in the Rajasthan or some part of Haryana or Punjab. So all these areas are currently more than having temperature more than 45 degrees Celsius. And this year, frequent rain and as well as the Taute and other cyclones. Due to these cyclones, we are having a little bit moist condition in these days, and that this is the reason that temperature is not touching more than 45. High wind velocity, gusty wind, huge, because in the geography you know that when a large chunk of the land is continuously under the high temperature, all the heat waves goes into the atmosphere, and to cover the vacuum created by the evaporation of the, or you can say upward movement of the heat waves, surrounding air is going to fill this gap, and this activity starts very fast. Like early morning, if you are having a temperature more than 20, like more than 35 to 40 degrees centigrade, up to the 8 or 9 or 10 a.m. in the morning, you can clearly indicate that in the evening we are going to have a big sandstorm, and sandstorms are very common. You must have seen in many Hollywood movies that the sandstorms are being depicted and being photographed in the Hollywood movies. Similar type of sandstorms are coming, and when sandstorms are coming, you will not have even a whatever the unit of wind velocity. You will not have a you can't see even a movement of a leaf of the tree, because there is no air, and you can see that the huge wind is like rising in the sky and it is coming. So these type of features are very common. Very common means more, yeah.
Sir,
More than,
can you give me the hosting rights back so that I know there are people trying to enter. That's
yes, yes, okay. I am also trying to
yes.
play this role. So
I think because they are getting disconnected because of the network issue. So just click on my name and
okay.
give a hosting rights back. Right.
Okay, yes. Fine.
Thank you. Right. I'll take care now. Right.
Okay, fine. So the temperature and this feature is again very common nowadays in the Thar Desert, and I will share few of the taken photograph, few of the photograph taken by my field team to Putti sir, and he will show you. These are the amateur photograph of the taken by mobile. So twice or once in a week, such type of gusty wind carrying a pure
The
desert.
photograph is not visible. Right.
Which one? No, I have not.
Okay.
Yeah, I am just talking. I will share you later on. So this high wind velocity, and the wind velocity touches up to the 100 and 120 kilometer per hour. And with this wind velocity, you can imagine the tree community, what type of trees will be there and what will be the sizes of these trees. And if some trees are there in the large size, so you can imagine what will happen to them. So heat waves is like it's not a storm, but it's a constant flowing air with almost zero humidity. So that is known as a heat wave, which is very common in northern India. And in this type of heat waves, if you are not having ample of liquid diet in your food, if you are not drinking very much too much of water, it is very possible that you will catch up this heat wave, which is locally known as Loo, and temperature, your body will completely dehydrated and everything. Same way, cold waves, when the moisture contents are less than 5% relative humidity, that is again going to make you trouble. So such type of environment is environmental features are there, and the animals and plants are going to live in that. And you and me can come inside the house and on the AC and switch on the AC, but they can't. So in spite of the fact, with such type of harsh conditions, climatic conditions are harsh, this extremely hot region of the country exhibit a vivid and spectacular biodiversity. Why vivid and why spectacular biodiversity? Because these animals are being adapted to survive in this type of landscape. And you have seen many type of animals in many of the areas, but these animals are hardly being you can say present outside the region, though it is also thought to be having a less endemicity. It is important. It is an important area biologically as at the confluence, spelling mistake, of very different habitats, namely grasslands, sand dunes, rocky expanses, as well as forested domains inside that large desert. Okay, so when you will classify at a smaller habitat scale, you will find that more than 7 to 8 different type of habitats are there largely in the desert. So these are the grassland, desert grassland, sand dunes. Sand dune means there are two type of sand dune habitat. One is the barren and one is the stabilized sand dunes. I will show few photographs in the next slides. Rocky expanses as well as the forested domains. So due to the diversified habitats, the vegetation and animal life in this arid region is very high and very rich. Some wildlife species fast disappearing from other part of India. Okay, but are found in large number in this desert. One of the best example right now is Great Indian Bustard, which is now only breeding in this landscape globally. There is only 2 breeding sites and both of them are in the Jaisalmer district. Then having a good population of blackbuck, close to Jodhpur and Nagaur in the semi-arid region. Very good and highest population of the Indian gazelle or chinkara is found in Rajasthan, in the western Rajasthan only. Wild ass is in the Run of Kutch. So Run of Kutch is also part of the desert, and these animals are unique. You can find black buck in Andhra Pradesh and Maharashtra and Madhya Pradesh and some other part, even Odisha also. But this animal is largely, the largest population is found in the third desert, semi-arid region of the third desert. So then there is only one protected area, but that one protected area is very large in size. Since everything is large in the desert because of the very low human density, still the human density is very low in comparison to rest of the Rajasthan and rest of the country, except Ladakh. The Desert National Park is having a size of 3,162 square kilometer, is an excellent example of Thar desert ecosystem, because the rest of the area is currently under severe anthropogenic pressure. I will discuss later on. So if you want to see the true representation of true desert, then you have to visit Desert National Park and its diverse fauna. The region is a haven for migratory and resident desert birds. Okay, there are huge number of larks and pipits and other birds used to come in the, and sengruses and other used to come in the winter and summer as a migratory species. And many of the local birds are there in the large number. So Desert National Park is having a more than 150 species of the birds and many species of mammals and others. Now I want to discuss a little bit about the iconic animals and what are their affinities with the Saharan, Turanian, Oriental and Peninsular region. So Indian gazelle is known as a gazella, genus Gazella and species Benetai. Then there is another mammal is Merionus hurini. Merionus hurini is a diurnal rodent and is spread from Sahara to the Thar. So both of these animals, there are 13 species of Gazella, genus Gazella are found in Africa. That is only one species found in India is Gazella benetai, which is in the Thar desert. So you can see the origin of this genus Gazella is from Africa, Sahara, and this species reached up to the India. And earlier it was like it used to be found close to the Bengal also, and in south up to the Krishna River. Then Merionus hurini is largely restricted in the western Rajasthan and Gujarat part, having a origin from Sahara desert and further through the Sahara in north up to the Gobi desert. Since a fair number of species of these genera occur in northern Africa, these are thought to have originated from the Sahara. However, the species Merionus hurini has an Irano-Taharian distribution. It does not occur east of the Aravallis. This clearly indicates that this species is a true desert species. Even till today, it had not crossed the Aravalli desert, the Aravalli mountain range, and truly you can say like a desert animal, and diurnal in the habit, and largely vegetarian in the diet and feeding on the desert grasses. The number of mammals are endemic to the Oriental region, such as the blackbuck, antelope. The species is from ANTI-LOPE, antelope. So number of mammals having a affinity to the Oriental region, and blackbuck is endemic to India. So this is the westernmost distribution of blackbuck in the India. And another one is the blue bull, Bosilepus tragocamelus, and third one is the four-horned antelope. All three are having a origin in the Oriental region, and they find their western limit in the Thar. Okay, so blackbuck is up to the semi-arid region. Blue bull is nowadays surviving very well in the arid region, and four-horned antelope is up to the footings of the Aravalli. So all three antelopes, along with the gazella, fourth antelope, all four species of antelopes are surviving in the Thar desert, And in India have 6 species of antelopes. 4 are in the Thar Desert, 2 are in the Trans-Himalayan region, Tibetan gazelle and Tibetan antelope. So 4 plus 2, 6 species of antelopes found in India, and both of all 6 of them are found in desert. 2 in the cold desert, 4 in the hot desert. Though foreign antelope is also found in central India, and blue bull is like very much common nowadays. So these are having a oriental region affinity. Now next is the few taxa originated from the peninsula Deccan, such as Cameleo xylonicus. This is chameleon. Bandicoota bengalensis, it's a field rodent. It's a very big size rodent. Chuha. Golunda elioti is another big size rodent. Invaded the desert during the recent past. Thanks to the human activities, these 3 animals invaded into the desert. So we call them as an invasive species, and they are having an affinity of origin into the peninsular region of the India. Among the available animal life, vertebrate fauna, 4% of vertebrate fauna is macroendemic and 14% are microendemic to the Great Indian Desert, but none of the mammals are endemic to the desert. Now these are just photographed to show you habitats. You must have some picture in your mind that desert is like completely sand dunes in which we used to see in the movies, or if you can recall that Border movie where the Indo-Pak war picturized in a desert landscape. So that is the small part of desert, or you can say largely that is the habitat, sandy habitat. We used to call it the unstabilized sand dunes. This is a typical desert grassland. You can see there is a dark green dots, and these dark green dots are basically desert shrubs, Capparis decidua and others. And the lighter green and the foreground and background in yellowish and greenish is the typical desert grasses. And desert is home of variety of grasses, okay? Because grasses are having a habit of survival, okay? And in a small, it's like minimum rainfall, these grasses are so much adapted. Within 3rd day, if today is having a slight rainfall, day after tomorrow, you are going to see a little bit of green color in the landscape. That is the grasses are started getting new leaves. So when there is no rain, you will not have single blade of the greenery. This is this photograph is from September to October. So up to the September, October, these grasses are green. Now you can see this is a typical landscape level photograph. In the background, there are 3-4 large sand dunes, and in the desert ecology, we used to call them as shifting sand dunes because they are not having anything on them as a plant. So not even a single blade of grass is growing on these sand dunes because of the very high temperature, heat, and the local weather conditions and climatic conditions are very, very different on that particular patch. Then below the sand dunes, you are having a interdunal plains. Then you are having another sand dune in the foreground. And this sand dune is having a more or less vegetation. So we used to call this sand dune as a stabilized sand dunes. So during the gusty wind and high wind velocity used to move, these sand dunes are going to move from one place to another place. And the movement is so fast that every year public work department and railway department, okay, used to clear the railway lines and roads because they are getting continuously buried under the sand. So this much of sand progression is there with the help of these sand dunes. Then the foreground sand dune is having vegetation, so now it will not move. So over the years, vegetation dominated on the grass, the sandy habitat, and it is covered now. Then you are having some trees, 2-3 trees, okay? So this is a typical savanna grassland where you are having a minimum 2 to 3 trees and rest is the grassland. and there are few boundaries you can make out, and these are the agriculture fields. And then again, in the very much in the foreground, this is a typical Sevan grassland. So in a single photograph or in a single landscape view, you can see all type of habitats, and this is all these type of habitats are, you can select a typical mosaic of habitats in the larger desert landscape. This is a typical agriculture farm. You can make out that few tracks of tractor. So this crop is sown by the tractor, and only one tree, that is a Ziziphus mauritiana tree, then few tree in the background, and this crop is basically, you can say like hardly going to have 1 or 2 more rain, and this crop is going to get mature. So locals are having their indigenous, or you can select their typical desert adapted crop seeds, and over the years they are saving these seeds and cultivating these seeds again and again, and these seeds are again adapted to survive in a very less amount of rainfall. The foreground is the gawar crop. I forget the name. We used to locally call it a gawar. And these two animals are Indian gazelle or chinkara. And then there is a boundary. You can see a light green or a little bit of whitish plant is there. This is known as Arva persicum. So it usually grows on the, you can select a uncultivated land. There is one inside the farm, agriculture farm, and then in the background, the yellowish is basically the male immigrant of Kayam Churun, Cassia tora, I think Cassia tora. So that is a medicinal plant people used to grow, and it also grows very well. And these large trees are perennial shrubs, woody shrub, Capparis decidua, and in the background you can see again a sand dune with a Arva persicum vegetation. So this light green, whitish type of shrub is a perennial plant used to grow for like 5 to 6 years, and the size can goes up to like height up to 3 to 4 feet, and width can be like 5 to 6 feet. So these type of plants can easily grow in these habitats. Now this is a gravelly plain and savanna grassland. All these trees are Ziziphus mauritiana. Bear or berry we used to call as a red color, little bit of tangy fruits, pulpy fruits. So these are the acacia, Ziziphus mauritiana trees, and the entire grassland is Sevan grassland. Sevan is a typical endemic grass of Thar Desert. Scientific name is Laeciurus syndicus. Syndicus species name given on the basis of its first discovery from the Sindh region of Pakistan. Currently it is in the Pakistan. Earlier time it was a part of the India. Now you can see again grasses, livestock, local livestock is grazing, and in the background you can see shifting sand dunes. So mix of habitat you will see. There is a grassland, there is a interdunal plain. When you are having a long sand dunes, in between these long sand dunes, and when I am talking about a long sand dune, it means it goes up to like 5 to 10 kilometers long. Then there is another parallel sand dune after 1 or 2 kilometers. So there is a you can say like a distance between one sand dune to another sand dune is minimum 2 to 3 kilometers. So 2 to 3 kilometer area is known as an interdunal plain, and that interdunal plain is having a different habitat, and the sand dune is having a different habitat. So that is the larger sand dune, and there must be one sand dune in the backside of the photographer who took this photograph. So in between the sand dunes, that area is cultivable, okay, and the area is having a little bit of good humus and moisture and other thing during the monsoon, because that whatever water that poured on the landscape is going to be absorbed in between this landscape only. Hardly any rivers in this area. This is rocky outcrop, or small rocky areas are also there. So rocky area is making a catchment of some local seasonal nalas. These are not larger rivers, and you can see in the foreground, it's a interdunal plain. So interdunal plains, sand dunes, then rocky outcrops, and desert grasslands. This is that typical photograph which we used to see in all the movies and documentaries and even the posters when we are talking about the desert. Desert means such type of landscape where there is no greenery on the sand dune. These are just interdunal site. So sand dune is largely sand, and sand particles are very large in the size, and that's why water retention capacity is very, very low, and whatever rain poured on these sand dunes, within half an hour or 1 hour, everything goes into the aquifers. Now I am going to take you in the backside of this desert, and we'll try to draw a different picture, which is also in the same landscape. And I am going to talk about 6 decades before, which is around 1955 to 1965. This was an undisturbed ecosystem. Before 1958 or 55, okay, undisturbed ecosystem. Human population was very, very low because it was a total desert. Survival was very, very tough, and rainfall is very erratic. You can't predict that what type of rainfall is coming in the next 2, 3, 4 years. So the local economy was largely dependent on livestock rearing and a little bit of trade. Okay, and there are still traces of trade route from Thar Desert to the Kabul. Okay, so this is known. This desert was a part of a Silk Route of the trade during the Britishers and before the Britishers. Vast rangeland with a large expanse of highly nutritious perennial grasses. Prominent species being Laeciurus indicus in the areas. This grass is typically adapted to survive with less than 150 millimeter rainfall. If you are having a rainfall more than 150 millimeter, this grass is not going to be very, very happy. Another associated grass of this Laeciurus indicus, locally known as a severn, are Cenchrus ciliaris or Cenchrus sagittarius. These two plus largely the severn. These 3 grasses are dominating in the desert landscape, and among them Laeciurus indicus is the highly nutritious grass. And I told you that the economy largely based on the livestock rearing. Sheep, goat, camel, as well as the cows, local breed of cows. Buffaloes were recently introduced. So all of them were feeding on these desert grasses. Although the tree diversity was low, the density of shrubs such as Gigipus mauritiana, Gigipus numularia, Caparis decidua, Pyrotechnica, Leptadinia pyrotechnica, Arva persica, and many more desert adapted perennial shrubs are there. Tree density and tree diversity is very less. Trees are largely Saludora persica, Saludora ollidis, which are largely part of miswak, which we used to do some toothpaste companies are making toothpaste. So miswak and Prosopis cinerea and Acacia senegal, Acacia nilotica. So these are trees desert adapted, but their diversity and their density is very less. Quite high in the desert, and these are the desert standards having a best survival rate in the desert standard. Livestock population was low. 1951 census, 9.4 million livestock population was there. As a consequence, the grazing stress on the vegetation was sustainable, and regeneration of plant species was in consonance with the requirement of the grazing animals, both livestock and wild beasts. So when the livestock population was less, it was like, you can say, like, it's a kind of a manageable situation. Since you are not having very high rainfall, all the grasses are always under the stress. So 1 year they are having a good rainfall, so they can grow very well, and next 2 years there is a famine or like the zero rainfall, and famines are very, very common. Almost 3 to 4 famine in a 10 years gap. In a decade, 3 to 4 famines are very common. And we all, like myself, born and brought up in that landscape, we have seen many famines, okay, where the people death is very less, but the livestock used to be left without food for the survival, and they used to die. So the regeneration of the plant species is very minimal, and that's why livestock population was not able to survive. Desert dwellers at that time in 1951, population was 1.5 million only, were dependent on the rain-fed agriculture, growing millets and pulses whose water requirement is relatively low. All these growing millets and pulses, all these seeds were local. Okay, you can select by the successive selection. Local varieties were like you can say like local varieties were sought out by the forefathers of these landscape people, and these varieties are still grown there, and locally we used to call them as a desi bees, local seeds. So none of them are highly popular because except this area you can't grow those particular seeds. But many scientific institutions are nowadays working on the you can select the genetic level of these high drought tolerant seeds, and trying to understand the genetic makeup of which gene is responsible for having a less dependent crop, because now we are in India largely we are facing a huge problem of groundwater irrigation and depletion of the groundwater. So these type of crops are very, very important again in the debate and the discussion in the scientific fields. The economy of people was pastoral because of the unpredictable and erratic monsoon pattern. We are not sure how much rain is going to fall in the landscape. Even we are not sure till today that how much rain is going to be in this landscape. So people are eagerly waiting at least for at least one good rainfall. And good means 30 to 40 millimeter. I am not talking about so much rain you must have witnessing right now in Kerala. For desert, 30 to 40 millimeter rainfall is very good for many species to survive. Water was a precious and rare commodity. Water was really very, very precious and rare. You can say like as gold, as diamond. Hence, rainwater was rigorously harvested for human and livestock consumption. You must have seen and discussed and read about various water harvesting techniques, and there must be some example from the third desert how people survive with this much of less rainfall, and rain was the only source of water. Every village is having their own water body, and till today many of these water bodies are not even getting dried since years and years. Why? Because of the holy, or you can say like a highly worshipped water catchment area. People, even though it is a ground, but people never go with the shoes and slippers and others in the close to the water body. They used to like now shoes, take off shoes somewhere like 200, 300 meter away from the water body, and they used to walk barefoot. This is the level of water worshipping there. And all these water bodies are more or less worshipped by each and every community of the village. That's why these are known as a village commons, property of the village commons. And human and livestock totally dependent on these water bodies. Wild animals also utilize the accumulated water for drinking. Same water is being used by the wild animals, same water is being used by human consumption and for the livestock consumption. I am talking about 1951 to 1955, okay, 5-6 decades before. The third desert harbors a spectacular diversity of biota possessing Sahara, Turanian, and Oriental affinity. We discussed this. So the past history of wildlife inhabiting third desert zone has been well recorded by naturalists. Thanks to the Britishers and many other like explorers and geographers and geologists, because this area used to attract a lot more geographers and geologists, and because many fossil discoveries are being discovered from this area, And we believe that you, as a student of geography, you must be having knowledge about that Tethys Sea. So this area was under the, this area was a seabed in the past, and due to the Indian plate and the Indian plate movement, this area is being little bit exposed, and over the years converted into the desert. So we are having a good specimens from the past of trees, Jurassic era trees in Jaisalmer. T.C. Jordan in 1876 mentioned that the herd of about, all these are mentioned in their records, 200 wild ass, Equus hemibinus, roamed the interdunal plains near Bikaner and Jaisalmer during the late 19th century. Okay, now this animal is being found only in Rann of Kutch, and now you can see the Jaisalmer and Bikaner. A. Adam, 1899, recorded the presence of lion, Panthera leo, in the southern. Just a minute. Okay. So, recorded the presence of Panthera lion, Panthera leo, in southern Jodhpur and Siroi. And now we all know that lions are only found in Gir forest of the Gujarat. W.T. Blandford, 1888 to 1991, he published many records. Reported home of the caracal, Felis caracal in the Rajputana desert. Rajputana, Britishers used to call Rajasthan as a Rajputana land, and they are talking about the Thar desert as a Rajputana desert, and Felis caracal was the home of Thar desert was the home of Felis caracal. Nowadays, we are not having any sighting of caracal after 1997. Now caracals are found a little bit in the number in Ranthambore. Erskine in 1908 gave a vivid description of the abundance of blackbug, Indian gazelle, and wild horses, Scrofa, again spelling wrong, Scrofa, and the four-horned antelope, Tetracerus quadricornis, on the foothills of the Aravalli facing the desert. So we are having some good, you can say like references given by historians and explorers, and they have recorded many animals in this desert. So this was the, you can say like a glorious past. Now many species vanished from this landscape. Many species vanished from this landscape or on the verge of local extinction. Okay, like there is no record of lion, there is no record of this Equus humanus from Bikaner and Jaisalmer. Hardly few individuals used to come during the monsoon in the Jalore part, up to the last of, in between the Rajasthan and Gujarat. We are still having some part of Rann in the Jalore district, so used to be recorded there. Now, Zoological Survey of India is publishing series of publications and fauna series, and as well as BSI, Botanical Survey of India, is publishing fauna series on the flora series on the desert. So as per the Zoological Survey of India, non-chordates 1424, fishes, desert fish, okay, the fishes in the desert 142, amphibians 8 species, reptiles 51 species of reptiles. This is a high number of reptiles. Birds, more than 350 species of birds. India is having 1340 or 1350 species of birds in India. Out of them, around 350 are being reported in Thar desert. Mammals, 68 species of mammals are in desert. So this is a high animal diversity. Now, what they did basically, all our town planners and others, they started exploring this landscape as a land bank for the development, or you can say like a very buzzword nowadays, Vikas, or the development. So every government is coming with a view to develop the landscape. Okay, just like we are talking about save the Mother Earth. Okay, we are not going to save our mother is going to save us. So we started overpowering the nature, and we are going to save the Mother Earth kind of situation. So they started exploiting the landscape as a future land bank. Okay, and I used to call it as a ecological abuse, because you are not having any knowledge about the ecology, and you are making and you are disturbing the landscape ecology, and you are saying that this is a development. So development at the what cost? Development at a cost of a local ecological, you can say like a stress on the local ecology. So what type of stresses are there? We'll discuss. And these are the decades and decades of misuses. After the 1960, man's attention was diverted toward the Thar Desert to exploit it as a future land bank. Okay, the human population escalated to about 35 million in last 70 years, and the number of villages increased. Number of villages, village is the smallest unit in the revenue record as a human settlement, and due to the development and due to the human settlement in this landscape, many new revenue villages are being registered. As a consequence, cropping started. Since humans are dependent on the agriculture as well as the livestock, and they started developing various type of ways and techniques to claim the land for the agriculture purpose. So they started cropping, started even on the marginal land. Marginal land means this land is not in a very good, you can say like a fertility is very, very low. So if you will start cropping on the marginal land, which is not fertile, you are not going to get good crop after 1 or 2 years. And that landscape is going to become like completely drained out from the minerals, the natural minerals, and no crop can grow in the future. So thus that drastically shrinking the area of grazing land. Now livestock as well as the wildlife used to graze in the vast wastelands, which resulted in severe paucity of feed and fodder for the wild herbivores. In addition, an exponential rise in irrigation from bore wells and network of canals, especially from the Indira Gandhi Canal, I will discuss largely on this canal project, has occurred during the last 60 years. Irrigation with the more and more facilities and subsidized scheme from the government, from the electricity connection to the borewell, digging the borewell type of subsidy, people started making borewells and creating the network of canal from the Indira Gandhi Canal. So the brilliant idea of bringing Himalayan water for drinking purpose into the desert was conceived during the 1950s by Kumar Sen. Okay, India independent in 1947, and then 47 onwards we started realizing that we Indians have to do something, and we have taken various projects. So Kumar Sen was the chairman of the National Water and Power Commission, and he got this idea to do some sort of drinking, bring some sort of drinking water project. So the construction of Indira Gandhi Canal started in 1958. Irrigation facilities were developed from 1961 onwards. The canal aimed at ushering in a new era by converting the rain-fed subsistence agriculture of farmers into an irrigated commercial cropping, just like a Punjab. Okay, Punjab is area of 5 rivers, and every inch of Punjab is under irrigation. So similar type of canal irrigation facility was introduced. And this is also like canal. This Indira Gandhi Canal is also coming from Harike Barrage, okay, from Punjab, Satluj river water. So the canal emerged from Harike Barrage in Punjab through a 204-kilometer long feeder canal passing through Haryana, enters in Thar Desert. So there is a treaty in between Rajasthan, Punjab, and Haryana. Okay, Punjab is using this Harike Barrage water for the electricity, and Punjab and Haryana, and none of them are using single drop of this water for their irrigation purpose. Rajasthan is getting this water through a long 204-kilometer canal, and now 204-kilometer canal, after this it enters into the Rajasthan, and Rajasthan is from the border of this Haryana border from where it is entering using this canal for the irrigation purpose. So in Rajasthan, 545 kilometer long, this is known as a main canal, runs through the 100 to 250 millimeter rainfall zone in the northwestern district of Rajasthan. You being a student of geography, you must be having some idea that if you are having 100 or 100 or 200 millimeter rainfall in that area, so what type of ecological conditions are there, and in these type of ecological conditions, what type of animals and plants can survive and can grow. Now you are having a constant source of water. Luckily or unluckily, this is a open canal system. Main canal is around 90 meter wide. Throughout the year, 365 days, water is there in the canal. So high, and this is a high temperature area. Day temperature is very, very high. So evaporation rate is again very high. And this evaporation rate is creating a local high humidity area. So we will discuss various these type of issues. Now 545 kilometer long canal again joins with 8,000 kilometer long network of distributaries, will convert 11% of the desert into arable land and producing food and fiber for the humans. So 11% of Thar desert is currently under, you can select under the commissioning in the irrigation channel of this main canal. This is a photograph. This is a map. You can see here is the Punjab and right side is the Haryana. So it enters from Haryana border, Punjab border, and there are two canal systems. One is Ganga. One canal system is known as a Ganga canal system, which is very small. Used to be up to the Ganganagar only, and this was built by Maharaja of Bikaner, Ganga Singh Ji, and this is still till today. This is one of the best canal, which is not having any sort of damage. And you can imagine the quality work done by Maharaja of Bikaner at that time. This is the Independent India's canal, enters from here, Hanumangarh, then Bikaner district, then Jaisalmer district, and all these are the right side ones are the drinking water projects. So Hanumangarh, from Hanumangarh to Churu, and I recently came to know that this water is now entering into this side of the Nagaur districts, and Junjuna Sikar also. Bikaner, these are all drinking water, okay? Drinking water for urban and rural population. Then Jodhpur, having two canals. Then Badmer is having one drinking water project and reach up to this level of the main canal. So almost every district of Thar Desert is under canal system. This is Harike Beraj on the confluence of river Satluj and river Byas, and this old one is the Ganga canal. You can see now the green area is underflow. This is very interesting problem. I just want to tell you that you guys have to search this area in the Google Earth after the class, and you see the slope aspect of this landscape, okay? And amazingly, this all the visionary people in 1960s and 1955, they conceived this idea to bring a canal which is on the higher side of the landscape, okay? So in this landscape, we are having the slope is toward the Pakistan side, toward the western side. So this main canal is serving only purpose for irrigation toward the western side. And this toward the western side created another level of international, you can say like a Indo-Pak spy and other activities. So it's a very zone of constant observation by the BSF and other people. And almost every area is now having a human settlement and irrigation facility. Due to the irrigation facility, people are having farms. So the first part is known as a stage 1. This green one is underflow. This black one is underlift. So 90 meter wide canal is completely taken up by the, you can imagine the Tulu pump in your house, and you are bringing water from your underground source to the upper ground, on the building there is a water tank. So you are bringing water from down to the top. Same way that entire canal is lifted from down to the top to make a little bit of gradual flow, because this landscape is not having major slope aspect. So this is the biggest challenge, that you have to raise the entire water up to certain height, and this height up to certain height means at least 100 meter or 50 meter high, so that slowly and slowly this water can flow again. So the black one is under lift. Then again stage 2, yellow part is underflow, red part is under lift. So you can have an idea that how much water is under normal flow and how much water is under lift. And lift means constantly huge water pumps are guzzling the water from this side to the upper side of the canal and distributing the water. Now, this is a Google photograph. 90 mile is the height. Yellow line is an international boundary, in between India and Pakistan. And you can see the green one is basically vegetation, and that brown and yellowish part is the desert or barren landscape. You can see there is a one line going on close to the third desert name. You just see this third desert name, and this line is going up to this level. This aeroplane is basically Jaisalmer Airport. This aeroplane is basically, I think, Lodi or Jodhpur, and this is Bikaner. So this green line is going from here to the Jaisalmer. This is a Indira Gandhi Canal, visible from Google Earth up to 90 mile. Why it is visible? Because this canal is having a huge plantation on both sides. Why plantation? Because they were not having any idea that they are entering into the desert, which is having a high frequency of wind speed and the gusty sandstorms. So every sandstorm is pouring so much of sand into the canal, and to stop that sandstorms, they started plantation. So first they wrongly conceived the canal project, then they wrongly conceived the plantation project, and now plantation, constant availability of water is creating a different set of habitat that is completely forest area. So now this canal has improved the quality of life of human desert dwellers, no doubt. Everybody is very, very happy. Crop production is very high and has enhanced manifold. Crop production and enhanced manifold, and the livestock survival has improved. Many varieties of breeds of cows and buffaloes and others are now very much surviving and giving good quality of milk also. At the same time, all with a heavy cost on the local ecological conditions. Now, every year, every month, this area is having a problem of mosquito population. Okay, earlier time there was no moisture, so there was no mosquito, and since there was no mosquito, there was no malaria and chikungunya and dengue and other things. And now this area is round the year. This area is having a malaria. This area is having a dengue. This area is having a falciparum malaria also, and chikungunya is very, very common. Since last 15 to 20 years, all these things, every village is having these problems. So these are because of the local ecological condition. Nobody is happy with mosquitoes now. So the overexploitation of the good quality Himalayan water has several adverse effects also. Alluvial and interdural plains have gypsiferous hard pan. You must be having some knowledge about the aquifers and the rocks below the ground. Gypsum is a, you can say not allowing water to go up to the deep ground. It is retaining the water in the shallow surface. And this shallow surface gypsum the gypsum is mixing with the water and coming back to the upper side. So the hard pan sediments, which are responsible for the serious waterlogging and salinity, alkalinity problem. Moreover, natural surface drainage is absent and the groundwater is highly saline. Basically, this desert is having a saline water. Okay, so groundwater is almost saline in many parts of this landscape, and more than 7 to 8 saltwater lakes are there. Okay, so this is a typical desert having a saltwater lakes and others. Consequently, the water table is rising at an alarming rate, almost 1 meter per year. Why? Because huge deposition of gypsum is there and it is not allowing water to percolate further. So water is stagnant and groundwater level is increasing. Silting of the canal due to shifting sand dune is a major problem for government to face. The change in the land use pattern has tangible impact on biodiversity, with the deserticulous species being replaced by the invaded mesic elements. Mesic element means those elements, those plants and animals dependent on water. So you can see these animals and plants are surviving very well. Desert species are not being happy because of high moisture and availability of the water. And these animals and plants are surviving very well and taking over the desert animals. A number of human diseases such as malaria and cutaneous leishmaniasis are emerging. These had never occurred earlier in the desert environment. The change in crop pattern, retention of high surface moisture and excessive channelization, rift with mismanagement of irrigation water have attracted several anophelines. Anophelines is a family of Anopheles mosquito, and Anopheles pulsifacius, which were earlier unknown to the desert, is now permanently settled there. Thus, Anopheles pulsifacius has penetrated into the interior of Thar Desert along with the irrigation and now established in vast areas covered by the IGNP project. The ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Research, is currently doing many projects on these vector-borne diseases. The distribution of Plasmodium falciparum dominated malaria in Thar Desert is more or less synchronous with the spread of IGNP-related irrigation agriculture and Anopheles pulsifacius. So these are the gift of this canal. You just see this photograph. This was taken in 2002 by me. So 90-meter canal, and this canal is passing through various sand dunes. So you can see in the background, shifting sand dune is there, and then these are the plantations by government to stop the spread of sand dunes. So that's why this sand is not being deposited in the canal. And this is a typical picture you can see in the foreground, shifting sand dunes. After that, huge plantation, and this plantation is along the canal. So canal is going along with the plantation, and this linear development of plantation of 500 kilometer, mainly the 500 kilometer, and then you can select thin level of plantation is on 8,000 square kilometer canals. All these areas are having a linear forest, and this linear forest is allowing many Himalayan birds and you can select the northern Indian plain birds and animals to invade into the desert. The canal is having water, then there is grasses growing inside the canal. Why? Because sand is depositing and getting water, and grass is again growing. And this is a plantation, you can say, like shifting sand dune is just at the edge of the canal. So they have like diverted the canal like a serpentine move, but the sand dune is again and again coming. So they have planted some species. This is a main canal photograph. You can see Prosopis juliflora is growing into the canal, and both sides they have even planted eucalyptus also. These are the old photographs of the canal where Taifa and many other species of Himalayan, since because of the Himalayan pure water is coming, many invasive species are coming along the water. This foreground is Arva persica. The background is Acacia nilotica and Arva persica. See, this is a tributary of canal. It's basically going below the surface due to the less elevation or not having a gentle slope. So somewhere you will find the canal is on the rise, somewhere you will find the canal on the low side. This is a very old photograph, but main canal is filled with huge vegetation, and largely this is your Iconium. These are some of the pictures where you can see tributaries going from main canal to agriculture areas, this much of width, no water, and the landscape is the typical desert. So where we are bringing water into the pure sand. Now this is another example, another case study where the gypsum problem is there, which is locally known as SEM problem. So upland, medium land, low land, and wetland. This is a, you can say like a landscape availability, and groundwater is there. So groundwater table, impermeable surface layer, and this impermeable surface layer is basically gypsum layer. This is close to Surutgarh and in Hanumangarh area, and the largest area is Badopal. 10 depressions and channels on west of IGNP between RD. RD is reduced distance from the main canal. This is a canal measuring unit. So RD 100 to RD 190, length is 1000 meter. Wide spread, water spread area is 1200 hectare. This 1200 hectare is completely water filled round the year because of the gypsum in the ground. So you can see like the gypsum salts are mixing with the water and coming up in the surface. Sunlight is evaporating the water, and the deposition of constant deposition of this salt is getting increasing day by day, and the problem is day by day increasing, and entire area converted into saline land. Ganganagar, Bikaner, Jaisalmer. So these are the some of the this I have taken from some studies, and all these red ones are agriculture field. Okay, this is a remote sensing imagery. So all red is agriculture field, and this is a Bikaner city, and you can see white ones are salt depositions. So these white areas are completely gone. This is the Badopal, which I was talking, the Badopal saline water body, and these lines are basically canals. So Lakhuvali, Mainavali, and all these canals are going somewhere here and there, and you can see entire zone of this area, Jakravali, and these are all areas are under saline water body. So Badopal saline water body. Google is also mentioning it as a Badopal saline water body. Now Forest Department, ropin and flamingo populations are very high. So they are proposing it as a conservation reserve or some sort of bird sanctuary for attracting tourism and other things. Now these are the photographs you can see. Left one in 2005. Then 2014. So within 9 to 10 years, in the number of agriculture fields increasing, and it started in 1960. So from 1960, you can see like gradual increasing in the number of agriculture fields. Every year, water is more and more like availability of water with the facilities more and more coming into the desert. 2007, 2014. So within 7 years, you can see the number of agriculture fields are multifold. 1996, 97, this was the situation of habitats, and you can clearly see this pink area and yellow area here is converted into this much of greenery. And irrigation from this side to irrigation from this was rain-fed, and irrigation was only 4%. Now you can see irrigation is come around 14%. So this is my picture to tell you the story. And the canal system is very important for humans to survive. But basically this canal irrigation system is on a wrong side of the area, and that wrong side is like desert. So why we are concerned about this area as a geology student or as a geography student or as a you can say like natural science student, these type of irrigation projects are not helping about the local ecology. These projects are basically you can say like for the planning purpose and for the development purpose and for other purposes, these are good, but local animals and plants are not getting even a slightest benefit. All the desert animals and all the desert species like Lacerus indicus, I was talking about that particular grass. This grass is, you can say, like mother of all the grasses in the desert. Mother means highly valuable grass for the locals, for the livestock. But now government of India is trying to restore the grassland of this Lacerus indicus this year, since UN declared this entire 10 year as a restoration, generation restoration. So we have to think about the restoration plan. So government of India gave a plan to Rajasthan government for the restoration of these landscape. So first we have converted this area into desert, and now we are trying to restore the desert grassland, which is not possible in 5 or 10 years. This is an action of 60 years in front of us. So I am open for discussion. Anybody want to discuss?
Thank you, sir. So I'll ask in case anyone has questions, you can just directly put forth. Just unmute and ask the question.
Sir, my name is Navya. And my question is, what are the measures that can be taken to protect our desert ecology?
Don't disturb them. This is the basic thing. Like protection is like, I just want to tell you one thing, that we all are talking about like restoration. Restoration is nowadays very interestingly buzzword in the entire vocabulary. So what is restoration? I am a faculty of environment, and for me, you just encircle that area. Don't even go. This area is going to become under a natural process of restoration. Okay, so it will start natural restoration. Now, being a science student or being a you can say like a human being, what we can do, we can trigger the restoration process. So we can do a little bit of action-oriented activities. And what are the action-oriented activities? First, we have to cut the problem part. So what are the problems? We have to address the problem. And at the same time, we have to give some sort of supplements to the, you can select the issue. So the supplement to the issue is like, basically we want to restore the desert area. So for the restoration, you have to stop the freely available water. Okay. So give once or twice or thrice or maximum 4 times in a year. Okay. You can water these restoration sites, but not on a daily basis. Like if you want to grow cactus, then please leave it to its own habitat. Okay. You can't grow cactus and orchids together in a single place, because both of them are having a different type of nature. So orchids can't grow in a high temperature or low humidity area, and cactus can't grow in a low temperature and high humidity area. So same way, we have to understand the local ecology. We have to understand the demand of a individual species. These are like physico-chemical properties of the environment, which type of animal or which type of plant used to grow in what type of environment. If you know, then we can try to stabilize that factor. And then your plant or your animal will start getting more and more happiness, and it will start regrowing it.
Sir, just a clarification. I think we have very little cactus in our Rajasthan desert, no? Because I have traveled
very little. Very little.
Unlike other deserts.
Yes. We have Euphorbiaceae families. Okay. We generally used to call as a dandathor, and these all like sticks type of thing. You must have seen in Aravali's also. So all these plants are Euphorbiaceae family plants. Cactuses are different from the different families. So we have Euphorbiaceae plants in desert, but cactuses are more or less garden, these hobbyist and garden plants.
You also mentioned that the change that is happening along the canal, the greenery that is coming in. So what is the type of fauna that is getting into this particular greenery? Is it also growing or?
Okay. So up to 2002, there was no sighting of blue bull, Nilgai in Jaisalmer, up to 2002. Okay. And since this is like my period, that's why I'm telling you very correctly. So up to 2002, there was no sighting of blue bull in Jaisalmer. Now every area of Jaisalmer is having blue bull. So this is less than 10 years, less than 20 years, because of the high level of irrigation facility. Because blue bull is magic animal. Magic means it want to drink at least twice in a day or thrice in a day. So they need a freely available water. So because of the irrigation facility, water availability is increased, and this water availability increased here and there. Earlier they used to go for the village water body. Now water availability is here and there everywhere. So they are going and drinking water in every place, and that's why their population is increasing like many folds. And there is no natural predator of blue bull in that area, at least in that area. Like even leopard and tiger can hunt. So there is no natural predator, and that's why they are enjoying like anything. You are not having a population check, and with various government protection measures and others, you can't hunt, you can't kill. So the animals are enjoying in all the landscape, and population is increasing day by day. Another example is wild boar. Wild boar used to be found up to certain part of Jodhpur and Bikaner during the Britishers' time, certain part, okay? And these local Maharaja and other kings used to rear them in certain areas for hunting purpose, for their royal guests. Because they were not having Jodhpur and Bikaner, they were not having any tiger and elephant or like other animal for the shooting purpose for their royal guests. So they used to rear these animals in some part of the estates, erstwhile estate. Now this wild boar is everywhere in the desert. So these are the, and then many species of Himalayan grasses. Himalayan grasses means Punjab plain grass and Himalayan grass coming with the water. Many species of birds like paradise flycatcher we are having in desert. And then we are having a pheasant-tail jasana. It's a wetland and bird is breeding in the Jaisalmer. Then we are having many species of rails and crakes. These are wetland birds surviving very well in the desert. So many species are flamingos are there in the desert. Pented storks are there in desert. I am talking about Jaisalmer and osprey. Osprey is dependent on fishes and feeding on fishes in the wetlands. We are having osprey 3 to 4 months in a year. Jaisalmer is having osprey. So imagine a osprey in a desert. What they are doing? They are doing hunting fishes on the desert wetlands. So wetlands are being created, large size wetlands. From the satellite and Google Earth, student can explore that some of the wetlands are 11 to 20 kilometers long and 5 to 6 kilometers wide. These are water bodies. So much big water bodies are there, and around there water is there. So manifold increase in the fish production, and many of the Himalayan fishes are there in the Jaisalmer and Bikaner water bodies.
Sir, a few questions are there in our chat box. If you can just go through that and
okay.
4 questions are there.
Okay, first is ecocline, which separate desert ecosystem with other ecosystems. I think it's very fine. I'm not getting exactly the meaning, but there must be some area where 2 ecosystems are joining. Okay, so this is a Aravalli, or you can say like Aravalli foothills. But in the landscape, it is not possible to draw a single line. Because just like a water, if you will drop 1 drop of color in the water, after a few minutes, that water is going to become, the color is going to become mixed. So same way, when 2 ecosystems are merging together, you can have a area of like a zone of a interaction where both the flora and fauna can be present. So some type of areas are there in desert where you can have Aravalli fauna as well as the desert fauna in the foothills of Aravalli. Okay, so what about the salinization issues in the agricultural field along the? It's a huge problem. I gave you one example of Hanumangarh region. It's a heavy problem. Many of the farmers, those who are happy, 30 to 40 years, they grow like everything. Earlier they started wheat, Then they started rice. Then few of the town planners and other agriculture officers are saying that now these areas are suitable for sugarcane, and like in a different manner. And they used to say like after some time you can go for
Rice.
rice and then singada. I don't know what soap nuts.
Okay.
So this much of level of availability is increasing. Some of these areas are having completely like the groundwater is 5 feet above the surface. That is the groundwater, because water is not percolating. So the entire villages like completely gone. People have vacated their villages because entire this area is under submergence. Specifying micro endemic and macro endemic species in that. Some of the species, those are having a very unique choice. Okay, and some of these, so these are known as a micro endemics. Some of these areas are having, some of these animals and plants are having a little bit of adjustable nature. So these are the macro endemics. So thoda chalta type of attitude. Some no, I don't need. I need only certain elements. If it is not available, then I am going to extinct. So we are having few species of this because of this connectivity with the surrounding landscape. It is not in isolation. So few animals are showing a little bit of signature that these are the micro endemic species, and some of them are like they are getting adjusted. So sorry sir, that again. Apart from the presence of Eichhornia in the canal, is there any other invasive species in that are they affecting desert nature? Yes, not natural pastures. Okay, along the agriculture field, along the canals, because still we are having 20 to 30% of this desert is still in the desert condition because of the high elevation. Canal is in the lower side, so water can't reach up to that high, and that's why these areas are islands of the desert inside the agriculture dominant landscape. And the problem is that Eichhornia, along with the Eichhornia, Typha, Phragmites, like you just name it and you will have every species of wetland of Punjab and Haryana is into the desert. Along with the water, seeds are coming with the water and they are growing because the water quality is same. Pure water quality is same, and that's why they are growing everywhere.
The water hyacinth is also there?
Yes, water hyacinth. Eichhornia is water hyacinth only. Water hyacinth is there.
Common name is there. Okay.
Yes, water hyacinth. Could say something about the role Vishnu? Like this is this Bikaner is having a huge population of Vishnu. Jodhpur is having huge population of Vishnu. So they are protecting few animals, especially antelopes, blackbug and chinkara, due to their religious connection. And but this agriculture and this ecology is beyond the understanding of everyone. So it is not possible for them to stop it. And I just want to give you one example that the blackbug population is declined a lot in the desert because of the each and every place is under agriculture. So we have lost almost like 60 to 70% population of blackbug in Jodhpur, Bikaner, and 100% lost in Jalore. All these are desert districts. Okay, and very few areas are now with the blackbug population in Pali. The largest population is surviving in small sanctuary Tal Chapar in Churu. Then few areas in Ganganagar, and all these antelopes are surviving just because of this Vishnu community only.
And one thing to be noted is that there is no predator species in this area.
Yes, there are no predators. Only nowadays predators' role is being played by stray feral dogs.
Yes.
Since these dogs are dependent on human settlements, so wherever human beings are spreading in the desert, they are having one or two dogs along with around their houses, and these dog populations are getting food from the human subsidized food, and now become the largest predators in the desert and killing chinkaras and blackbugs in a large number. The second one was only few individuals of wolf in the foothills. This is that largest predator in the desert. Rest others are not able to kill any animals. So there is lack of predator, and that's why chinkara and blackbugs are basically surviving. Local community improving ecology and governance. This is a very tricky question actually. this is in between the, you can say like a policy and then politics and landscape level ecology and other thing. So everybody is looking for the benefit. Okay, and if somebody, for the government side, if they are making a big project, something like 1,000 crores, it is very easy for them to draw on a paper. And when this project reach up to the ground, various level of, you can say like a seepage in the process of implementing the project is there. There is no doubt. You must have seen, you just go around your village settlement and see how NREGA activities are being done. So this is a best example that how government projects reach up to the ground. But though few activities are there, now people are very much concerned about some sort of a traditional farming, and they are trying to revive their original farming system. Then they are trying to revive their or grow some sort of organic farming and other, because of the much and much awareness and growing number of cancers and other diseases. So they are trying to improve the farm ecology. They are not able to do the entire landscape level ecology, but they are trying to improve the farm ecology, and they are growing their original traditional seeds. And I am also associated with one of that group, and I know that how they are collecting seed from here and there through the social media, that I need that particular crop, local seed, can you please give me? And in the next year they used to distribute to the again it's a kind of a village kitty where people used to donate some seed, and then they used to distribute type of thing. So these are some farmers are started doing this, and they are trying to improve the landscape level, not landscape, farming community, doing that in their farms. Now, government's responsibility is largely for the landscape restoration. This is that biggest responsibility government have to play. And could you say a few words about food chain in desert ecosystem and their interaction thing? Okay. So food chain is like you have to start from the grass, then grasshoppers, and locust is one of the important primary consumer of the grass. We are having various type of locust, Bombay locust as well as the desert locust. So desert locust, you must have heard last year and before last year, we had a huge locust problem. And when there is a locust, every animal of desert is enjoying on that particular feed, because locust is full of protein. And every animal, even house sparrows are killing locust. 2-3 house sparrows are joining together to kill single locust. Crows, manas, Indian rollers, you just name it, every bird, every insectivorous and meat eater bird, even cicras, lugger falcons, larger, smaller, every bird was feeding on that particular locust. And then since these are the raptors, so higher on the raptor side, we are having very good number of raptors in desert. Migratory as well as the resident ones also. Tawny eagle is the resident one largest, and we are having migratory migratory eagles also. And in the in the carnivore side, mammal side, largest carnivore in desert, very few wolf left. Then jackal, very few jackals. Then hyenas are scavengers, and then dogs are somewhere here and there. They are killing also, so they are predating and scavenging. And we are having mongooses, we are having monitor lizards, we are having everything. Huge diversity of mammals, huge diversity of herbivores. Diversity is very high. All these wild animals are very high in number.
Sir, just one more question. The PM road Yojana is also there, Sadak Yojana. So how is that impacting the entire landscape? I think because of new settlements, more and more roads might be coming into this area.
This is a target.
Okay.
Every household should have electricity. Every household should have, at least settlement should have road. So almost every village is being connected by the road. Every village. And this is not a desert. In a true sense, if you will explore, you will find that everywhere people are moving in all type of cars and other, because very less rainfall, and that's why road quality is also very high. So you can easily drive your car in 80, 90, 100 km/h speed. This is not a big problem. all sort of you just name it, Pajero and then your Fortuner and every vehicles are there. So people are enjoying. They are very, very happy. And this landscape and the locals are having a habit of living in isolation, like hamlets. So they used to make a small settlement. Like my grandfather is having one house. So my father and my brothers are having adjoining houses, and my brothers and my brother and other brothers are having adjoining houses. So single family clan is having one settlement. The next clan is having in the next 500 or 1 kilometer or 5 kilometer away and is another settlement. So these type of settlements are very common in desert. And this is a reason that somebody asked about the local Vishnuyism. This is a very high tendency of such type of housing in Vishnoi community, because every agriculture field is having one house, and that's why their presence is there in each and every area, and they are protecting from all the dogs as well as from the poachers. So blackbug and chinkaras are being protected by this method.
So what is the average size of land holding in a single family as such? Or?
We have a unit in Biga. I can't convert that in hectare. Okay. So you just convert in the Google and Rajasthan Biga is larger in comparison to any other state. So you just go BIGHA Biga in Rajasthan and then convert it into hectare and this thing acre. So on an average, few of my friends in Jaisalmer are having 170 Biga. This is like something roughly 25 hectare.
Okay.
Something like 50 hectare. Okay. It's very, very huge, and they are not able to cultivate every land, because cultivation nowadays is very expensive. You have to hire a tractor and then 100 liter diesel, 100 liter per liter. 100 rupees per liter diesel in today's rate in Rajasthan. So it is not possible for them to till the entire agriculture field. And that's why 50%, 30% is under cultivation, rest is in the open for the wildlife to survive.
Great. Thank you, sir. I think we'll proceed on to the vote of thanks. My sincere thanks to you for sparing your time at a short notice and coming over here. I'll just ask one of my students, Aishwarya. I think she's there to say vote of thanks.
Yes, sir.
Okay, please do. Go ahead.
Good evening to one and all. We have been listening to a very enlightening talk on desert ecology by Dr. Sumit Dhukia. It's an honor and privilege to offer him vote of thanks. Sir, your presentation has given us insights into the broader aspects of desert ecology. And thank you for explaining to us in detail about this interesting topic. Sir, let me take this opportunity to thank you on behalf of the Department of Geography for sparing your time from a very busy schedule and introducing us this topic. Thank you, sir. Let me also extend my sincere thanks to all faculty members of the Department of Geography and all the students of the department for having actively participating in this session. Thank you all. I extend sincere thanks to research scholars and project staff of the department and faculty members of other colleges, institutions for their participation. Thank you once again to one and all. With this, the webinar comes to a close. All can now exit the session. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Right. So I'll get back to you on email and maybe further on phone, maybe tomorrow. Right. Thank you for sparing your valuable time today, sir. It was really nice hearing you.
In last, I want to invite each and everyone. Just try to visit, and if you can plan some studies in this landscape, and I will try to give connection with the locals. So explore this area as much as you can, and still there is many things to be done as a geography, geology, and ecology and natural resource management. So try to explore.
Communicated this to my PG students also. So if they are interested, they can take up projects, be it during their PG or maybe after PG, in case they are going for their PhDs and all, they can look forward to go and study outside. Remaining within Kerala is of no use as such. One should have access to other areas as well. So
India is such a landscape. You have to explore it, and being an Indian, you have to explore each and every corner of the India, because we are having great habitats, great landscape. One area is under famine, another area is under flood. This is the beauty of India, where one area is constant under the snow, another area is in the 45 degrees Celsius.
Right.
So geography students should visit each and every place.
Every nook and corner. We have Kashmir, which is totally different kind of a thing, and Kashmir
even Trans-Himalayan region.
Leh Ladakh is totally different and
totally different.
So fantastic.
Like one student asked about the ecocline. So you just go up to the Trans-Himalayan or somewhere in the higher Himalaya, you will see there is one you can draw one line, that is tree line. So you can see that beyond that line there is no tree.
Yes.
Down the line there is a tree. So these type of areas must have to visit and see what are the impact and other things.
If you go to Leh, you will not find any trees at all.
Yes.
And if you go to northeast, you will find only trees and wetlands.
Even like South India, rainforest trees.
But it's all depleting at a faster rate, and probably the agriculture land here in Kerala and maybe rest of India is also declining faster, and only place where it is increasing is Rajasthan. So
and that's the problem. In last 2 decades, highest population rise in Jaisalmer.
Right.
In Jaisalmer, because of the settlements. Many people from different districts settled there because very cheap land rates are there. So Punjab people used to sell a small chunk of land. They used to purchase like 500 times larger land. And Punjab people are very laborious agriculture people. So they have converted these landscapes. So every area of Jaisalmer is now having a Sardar population. Means they are very much laborious and they reach up to that area and they are growing good quality. These one. Grains, especially wheats and other. So they taught Jaisalmer people how to agriculture in the canal area. Otherwise, the Jaisalmer people were not able to cultivate it. So that was
talking about Jaisalmer. I had read a news in the Hindu about leopards straying into Jaisalmer area. So I don't know where it came from.
Yes. From the canal area, and then it was in 2018 December. And then it went up to Pakistan border after 3-4 days, 5 days searching, and leopard tried to kill a sitting camel. So that was a bad attempt by leopard, and by this it was being spotted by a local that there is a huge animal is killing my camel, because that fellow has also never seen any leopard. So that huge animal photograph, pugmark photograph being shared on the social media, and it came to become a leopard. And then the forest department and other department people, BSF joined it, because since it was moving close to the international border, and then finally it goes into the Pakistan. So that landscape is changing like anything. You can imagine that leopard was surviving.
What's it like other side of the border? Is it completely desert, or is the changes something like this is happening on the other side also?
Almost same. They are also having some canals from Indus River.
Okay.
Almost.
So there also agriculture is being practiced in the desert area, and
same.
dunes are getting permanent, right?
Same.
Great, sir. So
thank you very much.
2 hours, you might be really tired now. Right? So what I have done is I have shared your contacts with one of my friends in Assam, Pranab Sharma. So he's in Assam University, I think. So he'll be also contacting you. I think he also wanted to do a geography webinar there for his students. So I hope you don't mind that, right?
No problem.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. I'll get back to you on. Right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, bye. See you.
All excellent. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.